up, everybody? It's Army 2 Willis, and we're back for another episode in our series for the lore of Anthem. And we're really trying to discover a lot here in this discovery series about the world of Anthem, its people, its places, its history. We're really trying to dive deep, and I think the best place to start, in all honesty, is the world of Anthem itself. And revolving around the world of Anthem, there is a lot of lore, a lot of it. So let's jump in. So here we have this beautiful picture just showing off some landscape. Apologies, I had to scratch my head with the headset. But back to what we were saying. This beautiful picture just shows off the landscape. And not all of it, but just a piece of the world of Anthem. And with it, you can see there's a lot of what appears ruins, tech field, wilderness, and just an untamed world is what we get when we look at this picture. And the reason I'm showing you this picture is because this picture is going to be the image that you paint all of what we learn going forward from this. So let's get started. We'll start here. So we're at the Gamepedia Anthem Wiki, and we're going to take the information they give us about the world of Anthem, and then we're going to take information from other places as well. So it says, the world of Anthem, a world that is stuck in the middle of its genesis. Mark Dara. So Anthem would be like the Bible's version of Earth, where in the beginning, God created the heavens and whatnot, and he went through his 7 days of creation. You don't have to be a Bible nut to understand this, but in understanding this, this will help you understand where the world of Anthem lies and what that means. So, in the Bible, God went through his 7 days, his 7 stages in reality to create Earth, because the Bible says that our lifespan is not within a blink of his eye. So that means that a day to him would be not even a millisecond or a nanosecond of his time. A day for a vast being that large that lives outside of the realms of our reality would be immensely long. So let's get back to this. So we're going to call the 7 days the 7 stages of the creation of Earth. And we're using this as a relation to the world of Anthem. So the 7 days are the 7 stages. When you get to about day 3 or 4, I don't remember this stuff in particular, but you get to about 3 or 4, the Earth itself gets created, and then you go through the process of adding in all the flavors to really make Earth unique in its own. Adding in the animals, the world's creation, how it looks, the biomes, etc., etc. Well, in the world of Anthem, there were the 9 creators, the 9 God beings, and they used a thing called the Anthem of Creation. And the Anthem of Creation was that, and Shapers were the tools. It was like a box or some putty, or I don't really know what to call the Anthem of Creation, but the Shapers are the tools they used on the Anthem of Creation in order to create the world. So that's the reason why I say putty. It's almost like you use tools to sculpt the putty. So in a sense, I'm taking that the Anthem of Creation itself is a part of the world that itself is not complete. So we'll get more into what they say, but I'm gonna jump back to that and we're gonna get more onto that. So it says the world of Anthem is currently unnamed planet on which Anthem takes place. Harnessing the Anthem of Creation, the Shapers, we're going to go to that because that's going to be important, set out to create the world in 9 days. 9 days. 2 days longer than what the Bible says our earth was created in. That's why that is important. But vanished after 3. So vanished just a third of the way into their creation, leaving only their instruments, The resulting conflict between the instruments of the gods and the anthem causes the continuous violent reshaping of the world. As such, numerous dangers exist across the land, such as prime, primeval beasts, marauders, and world alternating events. Humanity has been isolated inside of Fort Tarsus, shielded behind its walls from the dangers of the world beyond. A group of heroes called freelancers are responsible for leaving the safety of the wall and venturing into the perilous land beyond, confronting threats, seeking to conquer humanity's head on. So we got an idea of a very brief summary of the world of Anthem. And the reason why I'm going to go somewhere else because it's going to give us a more detailed, in-depth look. But we're going to see what they say about Shapers, because we know Shapers is what they call their gods. So that's kind of important. The Shapers, also known as the gods, are beings who harness the Anthem of Creation to create the world as it is. They set out to create the world in 9 days. On the third day, however, they vanished, leaving only their arcane instruments. Now we're going to click on instruments and then Anthem of Creation, because we need to understand those things after we finish understanding the Shaper. So back to it. They vanished, leaving only their arcane instruments strewn across their unfinished work. Left unattended, the Shaper's relics enter into direct conflict with the Anthem of Creation, causing the constant violent reshaping of the world. So that's important, because we know this further makes me believe that the anthem is a part of the world itself. It is almost the world's putty, and the tools being left there are constantly scraping against this putty, so over time changing what they started to create. And they never finished, so in a sense it's either tearing apart the world that they started to create, or it's in a sense finishing it, but not in the way it was intended to be finished. So let's get back at it. We need to understand the Shaper's relics now. So the Shaper relics, or instruments of the gods, are massive tools once used by the Shapers to create the world of Anthem. Leaving before finishing their work, the Shapers left their instruments strewn across their unfinished creation. The tools are in direct conflict with the Anthem of Creation, a conflict which causes the constant violent reshaping of the world. Echoes of the Anthem of Creation in large enough quantities are capable of shutting down active Shaper relics. So, we know these things called echoes are capable of shutting down Shaper relics, which is another important thing. So, we'll get to Shaper relics, and well, we're talking about Shaper relics now, but we'll get more in depth about Shaper relics going forward. But we're just looking at what they say, and then we're going to jump to a more detailed information place where we gain more information about all of this as is. So let's jump to the Anthem of Creation, because we need to understand more about it. So the Anthem of Creation, or simply the Anthem, is an unknowable force and source of pure creation in the world of Anthem. The Shapers once harnessed its power to create the world as it is, but left their creation unfinished. The Anthem cannot be easily contained, and unleashes world-altering cataclysms, as well as corrupting any who try to wield its power. This is important, as well as corrupting any who try to wield its power. That is important, because that's going to lead me to some speculation I have for you guys towards the end of this. Probably in the next episode, but I want the key there, because as well as corrupting those who wield its power. What we're going to do is we're going to take a screenshot of that, because that right there, that line is going to be important later. So I want you guys to remember that. It is also in direct conflict with the instruments of the Shapers strewn across the lands, a conflict largely responsible for the constant violent reshaping of the world. So this world is constantly reshaping itself because they didn't finish it and they just left everything all over the place, which is bound to be a problem. So we'll close all that because all of that is not important right now, and we need to get to what an echo is. All right. Give me 1 second. I'm yawning here. Early morning. Early morning. Thank you guys for being so patient. Back to it. So, an echo is a radiant force of energy manifesting from the anthem of creation. An echo is a radiant force of energy manifesting from the anthem of creation. Large enough quantities of echoes can be returned to the active shaper relics. They are emitted from the silence. They are emitted from. Okay, so let me read that again. Large enough quantities of the echoes can be returned to the active shaper relics. They are emitted from to silence the instruments. So, weirdly, they're saying the instruments are cutting away at the Asher creation. They're cutting away at the world, and as it cuts away at the world, it's cutting chunks of the world out, or the power used to create the world out. So it's cutting away pieces of the putty. You take those pieces and you put them back in a sense. It's kind of weird to explain it because you're using them on the shaper relics. So you're kind of like dropping these pieces on the relic, which stops it from continuing its cutting in a sense. It stops it from cutting more pieces out, which that's kind of like a hole, it seems, in the plot. But I don't know. It might not be. It might make more sense later. But we're just going to take what we got and go from there. So we're taking these pieces, we're plugging back in these pieces in the hole in which created them, and then I guess in a sense we're almost wielding the Shaper Relic to mend the piece back into the world and shutting it off, or at least temporarily shutting it off because we don't really have the power to control these relics. So we got that part down. I think we have a general understanding of where we're going with this. So let's talk about the world as far as what fandom has calculated and come together and pieced. So this is important because right now we don't know the name of the world, but we got a general sense of the world as it is. So let's look at what they got to say, and then we'll dive a little deeper. It says the gears of this world are tuned for a quick death. Good thing I carry a wrench. That's what Haluk said. The world of Anthem is the setting in which the game Anthem takes place. Overview. The world is vast, volatile, and it is in a constant state of change. It is believed to have been created by gods, otherwise known as the Shapers, which we learned about. It is said that they set out to create the world in 9 days, using tools that were able to tap into the Anthem of Creation. Inexplicably, the Shapers suddenly vanished on the third day, yet left their relics behind, littering the landscape. While these wondrous massive objects were used in the creation of the world, left alone, they are unpredictable and destructive. In the present, in the present, they still litter the landscape of the world. The discovery of these relics have been to the benefit and detriment of the world's inhabitants. While the relics, when the relics activate, I apologize for that. When the relics activate, they drastically alter the surrounding environment in often destructive ways, including the mutation of local flora and fauna and the transformation of the earth itself. So the transformation of this world itself. Yet ironically, technology salvaged from these relics by humanity enabled them to construct the first javelins, which enabled freelancers to survive the dangers posed by the very same relics. So by using these tools to shield ourselves, we become unaffected by these mutations and changes that happen to others on the outside. But we're keeping in mind that the anthem itself we cannot use because it corrupts. All right. So I've been yawning a lot. It's interrupting our talking here, so I apologize for that. But we're gonna try to push through this because it's still early morning for me. But I wanna, while it's fresh, capture all that we can understand in this first true episode, so that as we go further, we can put all these pieces together and kind of better understand this world. So humans live on the world, scattered across various enclaves. So there's many different groups and settlements of people on this world. We're just taking part in one of them, and we'll get more into that as we go as well. But I just want to share that because I want people to understand we're not like the it's not like Destiny where we're this last group of people. There are people all over this world, not just the ones we see in the town we live in, and not just the ones we're fighting against. There are other people who might not be affected or care or even know about what's happening on this world between these two groups that we know about. All right, give me a second here. I'm gonna take a drink. Maybe that'll help. Okay, back at it. Un- Humans live on the world, scattered across various enclaves, under siege by animals mutated by the Shaper relics. Humans, human ruins can be found in the same wilderness. Human ruins can be found in the wilderness. This same dangerous wilderness. That's the reason why I said that. My brain's like fusing everything together. So, human ruins can be found in the wilderness. And it is clear that they have lived on this world for quite some time. So, before we get onto that, I just want you to memorize these lines that we're going over here. And I'm going to start it from the beginning and go to the end, and then I'm going to talk about it a little more because all of this is important. So, we're going to enlarge that picture because that, after when I start talking about it, I want you guys to visualize this to help us set the tone for what we're learning here. So, human ruins can be found in the wilderness, and it is clear that they have lived on this world for quite some time. However, the secret of humanity's origins is unknown. Humanity is out of scale in regards to the world's other creatures, constantly being dwarfed by them. Nearly every animal in the world is hostile to humans. We want to talk about this for a second because I want people to understand why this is important. And I want people to understand how this relates to our world in a way. So we're looking here, early concept art. We see a bunch of ruins, and we see these guys in javelin suits. They don't know what people. All we really know, and all we're gonna learn that we know throughout the series is we only know bits and pieces of human history. People don't really know because there's not very much actual recording being done about their history. Most of it's being told kind of like in days of old via oral communication. People were almost sitting around a campfire telling you stories being told by other people. So some of this stuff might not even be true. Some of this stuff could be, flavor added in, the spices to make the story more interesting. Some of it could be directly as is. But what we know is the premises of the stories is very much true, because the premises of the stories derive from things that happened in the past. So the reason I'm showing you this picture is because I want people to really grasp an understanding of this world. We're gonna come across places we have no intellect on, places of the past that we don't know too much about. We're just gonna be gaining bits and pieces as we play this game to fill in all the holes that we're gonna have as we lead up to the day this game releases. So that's the reason why I want to cover that, because it is important. So we know all the creatures are hostile to humans. All the creatures are hostile to humans because they're constantly being evolved by these shaper relics. Meanwhile, us humans who found a way to not be evolved by these shaper relics are minuscule. We're we're almost like putting a fox in a jungle with a bunch of lions. They are so much bigger, or better yet, a better explanation would be using fish, because fish are a good example of how evolution generally works. So you have fish, you have like minnows, these tiny, tiny fish, and if they're the first fish, they're top of the food chain. They're gonna eat whatever is smaller than them because they can. They're simply bigger, and there's nothing the smaller thing can do about it. Basically, how evolution works. And then over time, some of these minnow, they're all gonna get bigger, right? Because they they're eating, they're living good. Some of these minnow might even start to fight each other because food, as they keep making more, might become scarce. And in doing so, it might cause the other minnow to venture out and find a different food source. In the process of doing that, some of them might find a food source that is better than the food source they started with. So, in doing so, that food might be bigger. And in order for them to catch it and sustain off of it to continue to survive, they would need to grow bigger, stronger, faster to eat that food source, right? So they do so. Let's say that food source is one. The food source they were eating before was 1/10 their size, and the food source they must eat now to survive is 1/4 their size. That would mean they would need to, in general, almost triple their size in order to be where they were with the original food source. And these numbers aren't exact. This is just to paint a picture. So now they're 3 times larger than they used to be. And let's say their food source had to evolve to survive as well. So in the course of 100,000 years, these minnow have become 6 times their size, and now they're taking on their food source like it is. Well, again, the same problem they had the first time. There's becoming too many of them, and they're fighting over this food, and they run some of the weaker, smaller ones off. Like say the ones that didn't get to that 6 times size, 4 times size, and they run off. These minnow have changed. They're no longer like the original minnows. We'll call the original minnows the OGMs, and we'll call these 2K 2KMs. So the 2KMs are now vastly different from the OGMs, and these weaker 2KMs venture out. Some of them are going to end up going back to where they originally were, and in doing so, they realize, oh wait, we're bigger than these OGMs, so we can eat them. So now the OGMs in this world over time have become a middle ground in the food chain. There's now something bigger than them that eats them in the food chain. That's the way basic evolution goes. So we'll leave it at that because we can be going on with that stuff for days. But that's just to give you an idea of what they mean by out of scale. Like they become from where they could sit at the top of the food chain, which is where we sit in our world, to at the very bottom of the food chain. It is a serious struggle for survival for these humans. And that is important because it tells you why these pieces of Shaper Relic in which they create these Anthem suits are so important. So let's get back to understanding this world as it is. And I'm going to take a drink for a second and do some yawning so we can get back to it. All right. It says the climate of the world is unforgiving, as are the creatures that call it home. Numerous natural events occur in the world, such as space-time shaper storms, uncharted terrain and forsaken ruins, as well as primeval beasts and marauders can be found strewn across the lands. This world appears to possess at least two moons, or is possibly a moon itself. So we're going to talk about why this is important. But first we're gonna look at the world. So the world has a lot of places. It has regions, northern bastion, and that's the only region we know of as of this moment. But we know what I'm guessing is within this region there is five settlements. Two of them are possibly settlements. We don't really know what they are. We know there's other locations, and there is a ton of other locations. Just look at this for a second. There is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47. So there's somewhere around 50, what we know of, other locations, including the regions of what we know. So we know this place is vast, and there's going to be a lot to it, and it's expanding. So take this kind of with a grain of salt, because we don't know how much of this world has been filled up, but we know there is a lot of world to be filled from what we're gathering. These are a lot of places: Wedge Key, the Tarsus Forest, Mirelands, the Memorial Gate, the Great Canyon Falls. These are a lot of places with some big names. The ruins of Shadowmark. That tells me that all of these places is going to give us some history. All these places are going to tell us some story. And all of these places, I apologize for that phone ring, is going to help fill in the key pieces about this world that we're missing. And that's the reason why I wanted to show that to you. Um, Jumping back to the top, we're going to go back to something because it tells us that we don't know the name of this world. In the previous, it told us we didn't know the name. Here it tells us we don't know the name, but we're going to get into that. We believe this world is called we're going to get down here to trivia because this is where we're going to get to talking about the world of Anthem. So it has been confirmed that the settings of Anthem is not Earth. We are not on Earth. Not supposed to be, nor does it have any connection to Earth. However, when asked, Mike Gamble, who's a very important name, refused to confirm whether the setting could be considered an alternate reality. The reason I'm telling you this is because a lot of the events in Anthem seem to mirror things that happen in the Bible, but as if things went a different route. And I say that because you have many gods where the Bible has one God. The earth was created in 7 days, but this place was to be created in 9, but never was finished. We are the top of the food chain in the Bible and created in the likeness of our God. Whereas we're going to figure they're at the bottom of their food chain, and we don't know if they are, if they're not, or anything about their gods. Whereas in our Bible, we learn tons about our God. They're left with almost nothing and no history, no power. So there's a lot of things that seem like this is an alternate reality. And we're going to get more into that later in the series as well. But let's talk about the next piece. While the world has a name as of June 2018, BioWare has yet to reveal it. In September of 2018, it was confirmed that the planet's name isn't Anthem. So no, the planet is not called Anthem. But we're going to get more into that in a second. Because the planet is Anthem, but the planet is not called Anthem. In the same month, an image from EA indicated that the planet's name was Marris. We're gonna get into that in a second. An image. I'm gonna tell you why they said an image. Excuse me. Events in the narrative of Anthem will not occur beyond the world. Events in the narrative of Anthem will not occur beyond this world. From a story standpoint, the world will always remain dangerous, a world that will always be a place that requires heroes. The world of Anthem is actually a moon. And you're like, wait, what? The world of Anthem is not even a planet. It is a moon, a planetoid to a planet. This is the reason I say I think this is important, because it sets up spin-offs for this game in the distant future. It sets up the ability that if they run out of content for the planet Anthem itself, or the moon Anthem itself, there is other worlds nearby that brings us to that. I think they said this here. The events in the narrative of Anthem will not occur beyond the world of Anthem, beyond this world, because they're telling you no time do they plan in the near future to leave this world. But they have set up enough storyline so that if they run out of things for this world, they can still keep this story alive, this universe, through the use of other places. In fact, they could not leave this world and tell you about other places, because threats could come from other places to this world. That is still a possibility. And just thinking of that gives you an idea of just how deep in content this game can really go. Because instead of us visiting new worlds, which can get old, things coming from other places here is an interesting take that differs from what Destiny does. Destiny has to create new worlds all the time and etc., etc. But things about this world will not change. But there will be things about this world that do change. And the threat of this world could also change. So that just gives me a whole different spin of how they go about doing things. And it's just something interesting to take in. So we're going to get back to this because we know that we don't have the name. But then we found out that the name of this planet is Marris. And the reason why I want to talk about that is because all of what we see here has been referenced. We have references for where they get all this information. And what's important here is where we got Marris from. So this planet is Marris, as far as we know for now. Like that's where we're gonna take. So who is Marris in Anthem? A main villain or the planet's name? We're not gonna go through this whole article, but we're gonna take the bits and pieces that are important because it helps us paint the picture. Based on newly surfaced speculation, which seems to suggest that Marris in Anthem could be the main villain name or a planet name in this upcoming game. Well, we know that the main villain is not a Marris, it is the Monitor, but we'll get more into the Monitor and what that is later. When we talk about EA's upcoming game Anthem, there's a lot of hustle and bustle, and although there may be a lot of fans who have been proven skeptical about this upcoming game, the speculations regarding the game seems to not stop. Starting off is the disclaimer that this new news strictly comes in the form of a rumor and mere speculation, so take it very lightly or with a grain of salt. However, do enjoy this because it sure is pretty captivating. Apparently, a Reddit user who goes by the name of Shadow Class 212 has uploaded an image. This uploaded image seems to be some kind of email response by the devs to the fan. Now, in this uploaded image, Javelin customization is the topic at hand, while at first sight everyone perceives it to be more information related to the customization of Javelins. In the end, there is the line which the word Marris has been used. Now, the context in which Marris in Anthem has been used is pretty flaky. It quotes a question. How will you choose to face the worst threats that Marris has to throw at you? And the way that they only pull that, that's something that I hate about media, because they pulled this one line out, and we're going to go to the source to see what I mean. But they pulled this one line out, and it makes you think that Marris is a person. How will you choose to face the worst threats that Marris has to throw at you? But let's go to that actual quote. So it says, Javelin customization. Of course, with every completed mission comes the possibility of new gear and weaponry. Upgrading weapons and honing your loadout is another crucial piece of your progression and will further allow you to create the perfect javelin for you. Be sure to align your progression choices with your customization for the maximum effect against enemies. All of that, it's important for later, but we're throwing it all out because this is where we get to the juicy stuff that tells us how we know this world is called Marris. The challenges you will face in the world of Anthem will only get greater and more dangerous. So your pilot and javelins will have to be at their best in order to take them on. The challenges you face in the world of Anthem will only get greater and more dangerous. In the world of Anthem, greater and dangerous. How will you choose to face the worst threats that Marris has to throw at you? The worst threats that the world of Anthem has to throw at you. You see, that's the beautiful thing about the English language, is because you can take sentences prior to a word or after a word to explain what that word is. So, that underline of Marris, if you take that out and put in the world of Anthem, the sentence still flows perfectly. The challenges you will face in Marris will only get greater and more dangerous. How will you choose to face the worst threats that the world of Anthem has to throw at you? All I did was replace the name with that one line, and it still fits perfectly. You replace them back, it still fits perfectly. So it is not a villain, which we already know who the main villain, the Monitor, is now. But we now know the name of this world. So we can refer to this world as Marris for the future until we're told otherwise that we were wrong. But as far as we know, this world is called Marris. So this is some deep insight that we got here. And we kind of have started to crawl now in this lore of Anthem. We're now crawling because we're gaining stuff. You know, we started fit pieces together. We found an edge. We've thrown like 4 or 5 pieces on this edge, and we're starting to get an image. And the reason why that's important is because as we fill up more and more, things are gonna get faster and faster. And I say that because that relates to things making more and more sense, and the picture becomes clearer and clearer for us. And that's going to be important going forward because in the next series we're going to really dive more into the history that we know of for this game, and it's going to help us paint a bigger picture of what it is that Anthem is and what we got to come. As always, guys, this is Army to Willis. I thank you guys for watching. If you're interested in winning that copy of Anthem on the 22nd, please hit the like button on as many of these videos as you can. My big thing is winner winner chicken dinner. So if you write the comment winner winner chicken dinner, I will know that you hit the like on this video. There will be a Discord posting and every third video, and I'm gonna make it infinite link. So for those of you that's interested, go to that Discord video. Go to Discord. I said video. Brain. Go to that Discord link in the description. Join the Discord. It's only something you need to do once, and that's just my way so that once we pick a winner here on the 14th when we're playing this game, or 15th, it all depends on how this goes, because you know I don't want to make my wife upset. So we're once we get closer to the day, I'll know exactly if we're going to do this on the 14th or the 15th. I will let you guys know at the end of all these videos, but definitely go to Discord, add yourself in. If you don't have a Discord, this is your chance to create one when you click on the link, and it will bring you into the Discord. That's just going to be my way to play with a lot of you guys, and uh, any future giveaways. Like I'm using this time to tell you guys that I'm probably going to be giving away like Microsoft points or a PlayStation bucks, or you know gift cards on the Origin store so people can get skins for this game, and you know other giveaway stuff like that in the future, because this is our own little Anthem community that we're building here. And if you guys are excited and really want to get into the storyline like I do, this is something we're going to have going forward. uh as we get further into the Anthem game, the content might wane because I'm also in school for game design, so that's going to take away from what we can do or how much content I put out. So the content might not be as great as it is right now. Right now, the classes I'm taking are pretty, I don't want to say easy, not as demanding as some of the classes I will take later. And, you know, in order to hone my skills, it requires me to practice this stuff. I run a business. I'm doing some esports leagues where I'm trying to do this interim league at my college to set up. So I'm running a million directions at once. So I'm gonna try to put out as much possible content to you guys as possible. Uh, for all of you that watch this and keep up with it, I thank you immensely for your support to the channel, because it's not just about Anthem. Right now, my focus is Anthem because I like that it's a new IP, it's a new story. It's really something for the generation of today, and for the generation of old who's old head gamers like myself. It's something new. You know, we're not just getting another installment of Gears of War or Halo or Uncharted 4 or any of these games. We're getting something fresh, something new to start with. And from what it appears, it looks like we're going to get something kind of like how World of Warcraft expands on itself, something that even on consoles will expand on itself in the future. Let's keep our fingers crossed. But I thank you as always for showing support to the channel. We might do like a Patreon or something later. We'll talk about that when we get to that point. But right now we're just interested in growing. I have the funds to fund you guys a little bit and do giveaways. So that's something I'm doing with my funds and my money. In no way is this funded by EA. I just feel like there's a lot of bias in the YouTube world, so I'm just trying to do something positive. You know, we feed off negative energy too much, so I'm just trying to do something positive, shoot some positive out there for everybody. For the people that have won stuff so far, keep an eye out on your Discord messages because you will be getting those codes as they come to me. So, uh, the woman that won during the last live stream, your husband will be getting his code the minute I get it, and for my moderator, Coag. I thank you for all the support and all the work you've been putting in. You've been putting in a lot of work for me, and you've been really devoted to the channel. So I thank you. You know, I shout out the names to the people who've been putting in a lot of work, and I don't ask that you give money or none of that stuff. If you don't have it, you don't have to give it. If you want to give it, that's on you. We'll talk about that as we get to the future and we start to grow bigger, because you know that takes away from other things that I'm doing. But just you showing up and talking with me and us bantering back and forth about how we feel about Anthem and the gaming world in general, that's important to me because I like to get you guys aspects. And as I grow into a developer and doing this as a one of my dream jobs, because I'm at that crossroad in my life where I'm like, hey, the army's past me, all the young adventurous parts are past me. Now I'm willing to share some of these experiences I've had in my life, and I feel no better way to do that than in gaming, something I truly love and something that's been in my blood since birth. So as you guys follow me through here, you guys are going to get to be part of this adventure of my world and my life and see me turn into a developer, and you guys will get to be some of the first people that get to experience that content. And that's also going to be something I'll do with the Patreon because it's my baby, it's my work, so it'll be something I share with those guys first as we look to do that going forward. But as always, like I said, I'm done, getting all sentimental and everything on you guys. We're gonna have other episodes coming forward. There's gonna be the giveaway on the 14th or 15th when we do the live stream. There's gonna be giveaways when we get to other key parts going forward. There won't be giveaways every day or every week as of right now. I don't have that much money, guys, but I do have enough to do like a once a month giveaway or whatnot. And I will be keeping tabs on as many of you guys as I can. I thank you as always for watching my channel and showing a lot of support. And keep your eyes peeled for the next episode coming soon. As always, Army to Willis, out.